Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that's really central to intimacy and pleasure, the art of oral sex. We're primarily drawing from Ian and Alicia Denchercy's work, The Art of Oral Sex.
Yeah, and it's great that you've brought in insights from, well, all sorts of places. Our goal here is really to get to the heart of it, right? Pull out the most important, maybe surprising bits and offer insights you can actually, use.
Exactly. It's not just about technique lists. We want to explore the nuances, the things that make intimacy better for everyone involved, and communication, self-image. That's all part of it.
It really is. So where do we start?
Okay, let's unpack this. The source material kicks off with something absolutely fundamental, communication, especially, in the bedroom.
Right. And it's framed, drawing on folks like Dr. Patty Britton, as truly essential, not just nice to have. They even use this analogy,
Yeah.
comparing great relationships to masterpieces, like Van Gogh's irises.
Oh, I liked that part.
Yeah, suggesting that just like an artist has to be honest with their feelings, their fears and joys, we need that same level of honesty in our intimate lives.
Which is tough, isn't it? I mean, the book acknowledges how uncomfortable talking about sex can be for so many people. Religion, culture, just general awkwardness.
Absolutely, it builds barriers.
Mm.
And they share that personal story with miscommunication after their kid arrived. Weeks of it.
Really relatable.
It just shows how one, maybe slightly awkward, but direct conversation could have saved all that trouble. Better than guessing wrong for weeks, right?
Definitely. The advice seems to be focus on mutual pleasure when you talk about it, what you both can enjoy.
Makes sense. So from communication, we're next. Preparation.
Yes. Preparing your canvas, readiness and grooming. It sounds maybe a bit superficial at first, but they argue preparation really impacts the whole experience.
And they link it to engaging all the senses, don't they? Sight, taste, smell, touch, sound. The idea being the more senses are involved, the higher the potential for, well, a really intense connection and orgasm.
Right. And that brings us to grooming itself. Pubic hair.
Ah, yes, the great debate. The book kind of says its original biological job, maybe pheromones or something, is probably not so relevant now. But preferences are all over the map.
They use that funny anecdote, the Curb Your Enthusiasm one, about the hair.
Oh, yeah, Larry David.
Yeah.
It's a light way to show how, for some people, grooming just removes a potential distraction, makes things more comfortable. The focus is on comfort and sensitivity for both partners.
Exactly. And it's not just aesthetics. They mention how grooming can actually boost sensitivity in certain spots, like male nipples, for example.
So how do they suggest approaching it? Shaving seems like the first method discussed.
Yeah, they give some core tips, like maybe trim first, use a sharp razor, do it after a warm shower when the hair's softer.
Shaving with the grain, right, to avoid irritation.
Right, with the grain. And moisturizing after with something hypoallergenic. Oh, and using hair conditioner beforehand can apparently help the razor glide smoothly.
Interesting tip.
And they throw in that little note about how shaving can sometimes make a penis look visually larger.
Okay. But warnings too, right? About certain
Yes,
products.
definitely. Big caution against chemical hair removers like Nair on intimate areas. Too harsh. And for electric shavers.
They might struggle with coarser hair, yeah. And need trimming first, maybe some talc.
And that crucial warning for men, keep electric shavers away from the testicles.
Ouch. Yeah, good warning. What about waxing?
Waxing gets mentioned for, longer lasting results, potentially softer regrowth. But they're honest about the pain, especially the first time.
At home or salon, the idea is pulling hair from the root. They even suggest the whole process could be part of foreplay, the anticipation.
Which is an interesting angle. Then they briefly cover the more permanent stuff, electrolysis and laser hair removal.
Right. Pointing out they're costly, can be painful, and you really need to do your research. Electrolysis uses that little electric probe.
And laser uses light to target the follicle. But ultimately, the main point they keep coming back to is talking to your partner about what you both prefer.
Communication again, always key.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the canvas is prepped, we need to know the subject, right? Anatomy.
Exactly. Assemble your materials. Sensual Anatomy 101. Knowing the landscape is crucial.
Makes sense. What do they cover for male anatomy?
The basics, this penis shaft and the glans head being particularly sensitive. The urethra, foreskin, and that little ridge underneath, the frenulum, super sensitive spot.
The frenulum, yeah. They mentioned circumcision, too, and how there are some theories, just hypotheses, really, about it potentially affecting sensation during intercourse.
Then the scrotum and testicle sensitive, temperature regulation, hormones, and the perineum.
That spot between the testicles and anus.
Yeah, that area. And the
Yeah.
anus itself, lots of nerve endings there. Plus the potential for prostate stimulation accessed through the rectum to intensify orgasm.
Right, that's an important point. And for female anatomy,
They cover the whole vulva, mons, pubis, clitoris, the outer and inner lips, labia majora and minora, and the vestibule area.
highlighting how sensitive the lips are, inner and outer.
Absolutely. Saying even gently blowing air can be arousing for some. And licking the inner lips, potentially very powerful, even orgasmic.
Okay. Then the urethra, vaginal opening,
Yeah.
and the G-spot.
Yep, the G-spot. They talk about its location roughly, a couple of inches inside on the front wall, and how stimulating it with fingers or tongue might lead to a different kind of orgasm, sometimes with fluid expulsion.
And the clitoris, emphasizing that it extends internally and its primary function is pleasure.
Which is a key point. All this anatomy knowledge then feeds into understanding orgasm.
So for men, they describe the sensation, the contractions, and that refractory period afterward.
Right, the downtime. They do briefly mention, with lots of warnings, things like perineum pressure or certain unapproved substances, sometimes talked about for shortening it, but stress caution and safety,
Good to be clear on that. And for women,
yeah,
it's more complex, isn't it?
much more varied. Duration, intensity, the contractions. They discuss the whole clitoral versus vaginal orgasm debate, but emphasize the connection between the two.
And spontaneous orgasms, anal orgasms, even theories on why female orgasm evolved. It really shows how individual female response is.
It really does. Which leads us nicely into the next chapter, the art of pleasuring her, cunnilingus.
And they frame this as another prime opportunity for practicing that sexual communication we talked about.
Yeah, there's that anecdote about Dr. Paul learning to really see and appreciate his partner's vulva, leaving the lights on, focusing on her pleasure. A reminder to be present.
Good reminder. So what are some of the practical tips they offer?
Start slow, be gentle, pay attention to both sets of lips, inner and outer. Less is often more, build anticipation, draw it out.
Don't just rush for the clitoris immediately.
Exactly. They even suggest talking or humming gently near the vulva. The vibrations can be stimulating.
Interesting. What else?
Gently spreading the lips for better access. Licking around the area. Maybe some light nibbles on the inner thighs, a little butt massage. Then moving towards the clitoris. Explore the whole region.
And they stress unlearning assumptions, right? Paying attention to the individual.
Yes, that's huge. Every person responds differently. There's that story about the virgin lover being amazing just by being attentive and intuitive.
It's about listening with more than your ears. And a key piece of advice seems to be,
Slow down, definitely. Pause right at the moment of contact, maybe a gentle blow of air, vary the pressure, light flicks, deeper sucks, use your hands too.
they mentioned that accordion feeling, finger in the anus while stimulating the clitoris.
Yeah, they describe that as potentially incredibly intense for some women, but the main thread is be present, watch reactions, and keep asking, keep communicating what feels good.
Constant feedback loop. Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, let's flip the coin. The art of pleasuring him, fellatio.
Right. They start with the why give head?
And the reasons are varied, aren't they? It can be an act in itself, just fun, an act of giving, a way for the woman to feel in control.
Or the man to feel powerful, or even an appetizer before intercourse to help him last longer. Lots of motivations.
They even include that short erotic story excerpt to illustrate enthusiastic, skilled technique. Makes it more vivid.
It does, but they emphasize it's not just about the penis.
Right, massaging the whole area, perineum, maybe even the anus carefully, with lube and clean hands. And eye contact for connection.
Good point. And for the penis itself, key areas.
Focus on the frenulum, that ridge underneath the head and the underside generally.
Yeah.
Those spots tend to be extra sensitive.
And the perennial advice. Watch the teeth.
Always important. And lubrication is essential for comfort and glide.
They make an interesting point about penis size, too.
Yeah, that size isn't everything, and sometimes a smaller penis might even be easier or more pleasant for the giver during fellatio. They also mention flavored lubes, the water-based kind, especially with condoms.
Adds a bit of fun. Then there's the classic question.
Spit or swallow? And the answer is personal preference.
Right.
Completely up to the individuals involved.
Right. For those who do want to swallow, they offer tips, aiming for the back of the throat, having a drink handy, letting it run down the shaft maybe.
Or reciprocal kissing afterwards if both are okay with that.
Yeah.
It's all about comfort and choice.
They touch on the impact of the movie Deep Throat culturally.
Yeah, how it shaped perceptions, Then they discuss the actual technique of deep throating, suppressing the gag reflex variations, the psychological side of it too.
And finally, the quickie, not to be underestimated.
No, great for connection, even when time's short. And that tip about him helping with hand stimulation while receiving oral speeds things up.
Smart. Okay, next up, tools. The artist's tools. Sex toys and aids.
The idea being that tools can enhance things, add variety, even just give your tongue or hands a rest.
And choosing them together can be part of the fun, part of the communication.
Definitely. Vibrators get a good mention, especially for clitoral stimulation. They suggest smaller, maneuverable ones are often best for targeted pleasure during oral sex.
And dildos for deeper sensations, maybe G-spot exploration. They really stress using body-safe materials, though. Silicone, glass, metal over the cheaper jelly or latex ones.
Hygiene and safety first. They even have a Toys for Boys section. Cock rings?
How they work by restricting blood flow slightly to enhance erections, different materials, how to wear them safely, and masturbation sleeves.
Right. And anal or prostate stimulators for exploring those areas, again with the hygiene reminder. Separate fingers or clean thoroughly between vaginal and anal play.
Absolutely crucial. They also give a nod to adult videos as potential inspiration or for learning visually.
Okay, tools covered. What about the setting? Artistic space and freedom. Places and poses.
Comfort is king or queen here, for both partners. If someone's uncomfortable, it's hard to relax and enjoy.
Makes sense. They break down positions for cunnilingus. Woman reclining is common.
With variations for access. Woman on top gives her more control over pressure and angle. Standing positions, too, for variety.
And for fellatio. Woman on top, again, for control. Standing is a common fantasy scenario.
And gives access to scrotum and anus. And the classic 69 for simultaneous pleasure.
But then they encourage getting adventurous with location, right? Beyond the bedroom.
Yeah. Exploring spontaneous spots. They share some examples, but wisely caution against, oral sex on someone who's actively driving.
Yeah. Good safety tip.
Yeah.
They also mention that positioning pillow, the bonker, for making certain positions more comfortable.
Right, for weightless oral sex, basically. Okay, then there's artistic license. Protection and expanding your repertoire.
First point, crucial one. Protection, condoms, dental dams if there's any risk of STIs. Non-negotiable for safety.
Absolutely. Then they list ways to broaden the experience. Kissing all kinds, full body, touching, caressing everywhere.
Blindfolds to heighten other senses. Add mystery. Temperature play ice. Warm chocolate. But carefully near genitals.
Very carefully. And exploring light BDSM elements, spanking, tying, maybe more ice play. But emphasizing that communication and clear consent are paramount there.
Always. Okay, that leads into the hands of an artist. Sensual massage.
And the point here is that massage isn't just foreplay. It can be a whole deeply satisfying sexual experience itself.
They suggest maybe getting a massage table, having the right props.
Yeah.
Quiet space, good oil.
Different types for men, water-based, usually better for direct vaginal clitoral touch, and lube, of course.
And again, communication is central. Talk about expectations, music, allergies, any no-go zones before you start. Build that connection.
The massage itself. Start light, relaxing touches, use palms, plenty of oil, tease erogenous zones, watch for reactions.
Gradually move towards the genitals. For women, they describe that butterfly massage on the labia.
Starting broad, then focusing in on clitoris, juice spot maybe, importance of arousal, natural wetness or lube, gentle clitoral touch, maybe internal finger massage, varying pressure.
And focusing on pleasure, not just racing to orgasm, constant feedback.
Exactly. For men, a cat and mouse approach, varying speed, strokes, rhythm, watching pleasure levels, maybe edging, bringing close to orgasm, then backing off.
Using lubricant, not oil, directly on the penis generally, trying different hand strokes.
And they add a bit about aromatherapy, essential oils like rose, lavender to set the mood, erotic bathing too, with safety notes on using oils correctly.
Nice additions. Now, Chapter 10 shifts gears quite a bit, doesn't it? Adding Tantra to the spectrum.
It does, featuring insights from David Charu Morgan. Tantra is presented less as technique, more as meditation, bringing awareness fully into the body, away from just goal-oriented sex.
Experiencing love as a sensation, being totally present. There's that exercise. Imagine you know nothing about sex.
Right, to tap into innocence and creativity, engage all senses fresh, letting go of fixed ideas about what's sexy.
And really listening to the body's signals. Trusting your senses to find pleasure, maybe even multi-orgasmic potential.
They talk about creating a sacred space, the environment matters, sensual objects, music, oils, used intentionally. There's even a little ritual described.
Facing each other, clearing negative energy, calling in positive intentions. sets a different tone.
The massage warm-up is different too. 4 stages of touch: air, skin, muscle, bone, then reversing. And for tantric oral, the goal is presence, connection, not just climax.
Right, it's about the shared experience and specific suggestions for women.
A
Loving the whole area, thighs, breasts, breathing into the pelvis, the yoni.
gentle kissing, sucking, even light biting of the lips, outer and inner. For both partners, pelvic rocking with breath is mentioned for expanding orgasm, exploring the perineum.
They touch on tantric ideas of male-female energy polarities too.
Mm.
And a key technique for oral on a woman.
Is often not going straight for the clitoris, allowing a slower buildup of full-body receptivity, potentially leading to a different kind of orgasm, maybe vaginal, trusting the body's wisdom.
It's a very different, more holistic approach. Fascinating.
Yeah, then Chapter 11 offers oral erotic stories. As Isabel Allende said, words can be powerful aphrodisiacs.
Yeah, they include 3 brief excerpts, one involving chocolate.
A chocolate lover's dream.
Mm-hmm.
Sensual descriptions. Another is a memorable first-time skilled cunnilingus in public.
Branded and me, highlighting technique and surprise. And the last one.
Under the desk diving. Clandestine office scenario. The thrill of the forbidden. The idea is just to let your imagination be stimulated.
Spark ideas.
Yeah.
And finally, the last chapter provides practical art supplies, resources.
Yeah, lists of reputable sex toy stores, lubricant brands, websites, some DVDs, and a selection of related books for further exploration.
Super helpful for people wanting to learn more.
So wrapping this all up, this deep dive really shows that oral sex is, well, an art. It thrives on knowledge, communication, curiosity.
It's so much more than just mechanics. It's about presence, really understanding your partner, creating a sensual connection.
And some surprising things maybe came up. The ongoing discoveries about female orgasm, the potential of prostate play, just the sheer variety of approaches and places.
Absolutely. There's always more to learn and explore.
So for everyone listening, we hope this has given you some food for thought, maybe sparked some conversations with your partner. What resonated? Was it slowing down? The tantric ideas? Or just the reminder that pleasure is unique and talking about it is key.
Which leads us to that final thought to ponder. How might shifting your focus from just the genitals to the entire sensual experience
Yeah.
and really leaning into open, maybe even vulnerable communication, how might that truly transform your intimate life? What new artistic avenues might you explore together?